Hi, it's Rebecca here from Life by 8. I want to talk to you about the Prime Directives of the unconscious mind. I work with the unconscious mind with my clients to work towards an integration of your conscious and unconscious so that you can work as a fully integrated human being and be able to make choices that reflect the life that you want, and for you to be able to move quickly and with pace towards the life that you've always wanted. And so some of those Prime Directives that I want to talk about is making the unconscious mind make sense. And so it stores our memories in and out of time. It is the source or the domain of all of our emotions, and we have a lot of them. And so sometimes it feels like we feel something before we know what we're feeling, and that is because the unconscious mind knows what that emotion is. It organizes all of our memories using time and gestalt. So sometimes it will cluster memories. So it might be, around 7, these things happened, but it may not be as accurate as dates and specific times. It represses memories with unresolved negative emotions. So those repressed memories are there to protect us as a child. So if something traumatic has really happened to us as a child, our unconscious mind can repress it so that we can continue to survive and move forward. And as we grow, sometimes those memories and those feelings and emotions that we've stored need to be released. And when I say sometimes, I mean pretty much all the time. And so it is usually the thing that holds us back. And so when we work with the unconscious mind and allow it to present emotions that it feels safe enough for us to release, then that resolution can come to head and we can move on from that. And you'll find that as you integrate further, your emotional, you can move through an emotion a lot quicker than you may have been able to in the past. It may keep repressed memories repressed for protection. So your unconscious mind, the goal of it is to protect you, to preserve your body, and to run your body. And so maybe you're not ready for all of those memories to be brought to the surface and to deal with. And your unconscious mind knows that. And that's the great thing about modalities like breath work or some of the NLP strategies that we do, is because your unconscious will only allow for you to hear what, or to process what you're ready to. And so you can confidently go in and trust your unconscious mind for you to lie down and for you to take it all in and work through whatever it is that it raises for you. It, as I said earlier, it preserves the body. It is a highly moral being. So your unconscious, even when you might be consciously doing something that you know doesn't feel right, your unconscious knows that it doesn't. And so that morality is really there. And that's why sometimes we talk about things like, how do you feel in your gut? What's your intuition telling you? Your unconscious mind follows directions, and it needs clear ones. So you might find in some of the strategies that I work with my clients, or if that's you in the future or the past, that the way in which I speak to you may seem different to how we would have a conversation organically, normally, consciously. And that is because those directions that I'm giving and placing to you need to be clear so that it can cut through all of that and all of your filter, and so your unconscious mind can understand what I'm saying, and it can actually process what I am saying so that you can actually action those directions. It controls and maintains all of our perceptions. So you may have heard, and if you haven't, I'm telling you about it now, and that is that perception is projection. So our filter, the way in which we feel, really constructs and projects out into the world those feelings. And so have you ever woken up one day and just like being absolutely annoyed at everything, feeling negative, pessimistic about life? And so it's like all these things happen that just annoy you and create this frustration and make things feel worse. Well, that's your projection. And so when somebody's annoying you, have a look and ask yourself the question, what in them is me? What am I projecting out? And start to look at ways in which you can take responsibility for what is happening and how you can actually become more self-aware of your projections and start to understand that the way in which you view the world is how the world responds to you. It generates and stores, distributes and transmits energy. So our belief system is everything is energy, and everything has positive and negative energy. And so it's what you decide to tap into and what you decide to give energy to. It maintains your habits and instincts. And that's why you might feel like, you start eating healthy for 2 or 3 days, and then habitually you go back to the patterns that you used to have. And that is because it's really important, and that's why NLP is so powerful, because the language you use transforms your life. And so as you start to speak differently, to look and view the world differently, then your unconscious starts to believe that, and that's what it sees, and that's what it actualizes. And so by changing your habits, by changing those instincts that you have, that may not be serving you, then you are able to actually move towards and in the direction that you want to. And so that requires working with your unconscious and integrating it together. It requires repetitive instruction. So in some of the NLP practices and modalities and processes that we use, it may feel like I'm repeating things, and that is because I am, because your unconscious mind needs to be clear, and that repetition really allows it to shift and change and create new neural pathways. You function best as a whole integrated unit. And so that's your mind, body, and soul. That is your conscious and unconscious mind working together. That is fundamentally what we are wanting to do. And that's where the breakthrough comes when you're working with us here at Life by 8. It's about moving towards complete integration so that you can embody and be the human being that you've always known you have, because you've always had the resources in you. You just weren't consciously aware of them. And so that's a really important concept to remember, is that we're working towards integration, and it doesn't all just happen overnight. And so those sessions that we do together, they all culminate and work towards moving you to that integration and into whole rather than in parts. It uses and responds to symbols. And so an example of this might be, you might have had a dream and there's like a random bed in it and a sword or something like that. And your unconscious mind might be using symbols to help it process something that it's wanting to bring to your attention. And so your unconscious mind can and does respond to symbols around you. It takes everything personally. So have you ever said out loud to somebody, "Oh no, it didn't hurt me. No, that's fine. I don't really care." Unconsciously, you've most likely cared. You've most likely taken on that hurt. You've most likely taken it literally, or whatever it is that's gone on. And so it's really important to understand or make sense of the fact that your unconscious mind takes everything personally. It will choose the path of least resistance. And in Montessori, we talk about natural human tendencies. And so your unconscious mind is going to look for the easier way out. And so when you are doing the work, when you are doing these processes, whether it's a program with us or a one-on-one session with somebody else, it's really important to understand that you're going to want to go just naturally for the easier path. It's a natural human tendency to preserve energy. And in our society, this day and age, convenience is so available to us that our want or desire to go for what's easier is even greater. And so understanding that will help you know that when you start to do this work and you want to break through and go towards integration, then it's a really, really working towards not taking the easier option every time. And it's unable to process negatives. So in NLP, we'll talk about language like but. And so blah, 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 blah. But everything that you said before that, your unconscious mind may delete or distort and just hear what comes next. And so the reason we talk about the importance of the language that you use is because that is fundamentally what actually shifts. So you start to delete the negatives before you even using them, and you actually start to say what you want, and you actually start to say what you mean. And it is as simple as that. So as we do the work, we'll go through different sessions, but the goal is that to integrate your conscious and unconscious. Not everything that I do with my clients is NLP. NLP is in my Mary Poppins bag of all the strategies that I have to use. But I have Montessori, I have all of these different crucial conversation strategies, all of these different modalities, processes, strategies, techniques, tools, concepts, ideas, opportunities, resources that make up who I am as a coach, what I can provide to my clients, and also for us here at Life by 8 with the framework that we have created. And so, yes, the Prime Directives of the unconscious mind is really important to understand or make sense of, because it is what we're working towards. But not every strategy that we utilize is going to be about that. So would love to hear if you've got any feedback. And I am extremely excited to continue sharing more about the strategies, ideas, and concepts that I work with and my skill set as the incredible coach that I am. So have an incredible evening, day, wherever you are, and thanks for tuning in.